Welcome back to another episode of the Canon on the Boom Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today we are reviewing episode 2 of Marvel's What If. This was T'Challa as Star-Lord, and I really enjoyed this episode. I mean, right off the bat, I have to say it hit me in the feels. I wasn't really expecting it, and I think part of that is the trailer we saw. I just feel like that scene with the early scene, Ravager's Never Alone. I just, maybe it's because it was dialogue that wasn't really part of Black Panther, just the way he was talking. And so I'd never heard Chadwick talk in his accent like that. So it didn't sound like Chadwick to me. And it wasn't until later that people was like, yes, that's Chadwick, since his last performance. So I was just like, okay, maybe it's just, weirder with voiceover. But I think in every other part, it did remind me of Chadwick, and it sounded just like him from the movie. So that's when it really started hitting me. The Chadwick loss is still real tough for me. But so that made it definitely more special, more hit the heart more. But overall, outside of that, it was really cool. I think I've heard some people say this, and I have to agree. I didn't really think of this at first, but we all talked about the first episode was kind of a replay of the first Captain America, whereas this was his own movie. It wasn't a Guardians of the Galaxy What If. It was just Chadwick, and they had a completely different story where everything changed. Now, to me, that still makes the short time of it feel weird. Like 2 episodes, it already feels like this shouldn't exactly be a short episode. It feels like it should be an animated movie, that's an hour and 15, much like the DC movies and the Marvel animated movies. That's what this feels like it should be, because with Captain Carter, we didn't have a lot of time to just let the relationships breathe. But with this, there's just so much that is different that we kind of glance over it. You know what I mean? And like you blink your eyes and we got Thanos in this bad boy and Drax, and Nebula's got blonde hair, and it's just like, this is so different, which is what we want. But it did feel like, again, that wasn't enough time to really dig into it. But what we got was cool. Like I said, the whole Thanos thing, and I'm glad I didn't see any spoilers, because I would have been mad at, but that caught me off guard. I was so surprised. Like, they were talking about Thanos, and I, from the beginning, it was like, okay, this Star-Lord is different. He's respected, he's known throughout, all that. And so I'm like, okay, he defeat Thanos. Like, at this point, I'm like, whatever he did, I could understand, because he's supposed to be that dude. But then Thanos actually shows up, which makes it kind of a weird line, because it was like, why would you ask him about that when Thanos was right there? But still, Thanos shows up and it's like, whoa. And then it's Josh Brolin too. It, like, the voices from the movie make it what it is. I know there's some that didn't reprise their role, but for the most part, when you hear those people, it makes it what it is. So to really have Thanos and think like, okay, what if he changed his mind? Which I like the way they played it, because even though it's a little different, because T'Challa growing up in Wakanda, and maybe that was the point, he was very much an isolationist, and the whole movie was about him switching over to being more open. But then in this, he's all about, the resources and sharing the wealth. So it's a very flip of the coin. And so Thanos, for as menacing as he was, the movies made his motivation resources and trying to balance out the world's resources. Okay. So I think it plays well with this T'Challa, where it's like, yo, we could discuss and have a conversation and realize that there's a different way to go about this. And they made fun of the genocide stuff. And we've seen a couple times in the newer, content where they make fun of older content that, we realized was just a little goofy. And so that was fun. And I like that it was a heist. I think throwing in a bunch of people we know in different roles is okay. It's not going to be enough to make it a great episode, but I think the plot of it being a heist made it even more fun, and that really solidified the episode because it wasn't like a Ocean's 11, but I love Ocean's 11, so you had a little bit of a heist feel, where they're talking about the plan, showing you the plan. But I do like how they put people in certain positions. You had what was it, the Black Order? I forgot their name, but they're working for the Collector, who is essentially the Thanos now. And so that was cool. And yeah, all that, it was fun. All that was fun. Man, when they hit the Wakanda beat, the doo 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 doo, I was like, oh my God, that music hits me every time. And so having him reconnect with Wakanda at the end was surprising. I think the one thing I will say, they didn't do a great job with that scene on the ship, because on the ship it still made it seem like they were like an ancient or like an old civilization, and they were wiped out, and he's reacting emotionally. I'm thinking, he's just emotional that they were looking for him. But then the next scene they say, like, you told me they were wiped out, they're still alive. I didn't understand they were still alive from that scene, but that's just a small thing. But either way, I thought from that it would, be one of those things where he was like, that's my old life, I made a new life here, I'm gonna stay with y'all. I didn't think he was gonna go back to Wakanda and then have all those people. And I don't know that Wakanda would have allowed that, but it was cool. It was a cool little scene at the end. So yeah, overall it was enjoyable. Now, the one thing I'll say in general, and maybe this will change by the end of it, but they said this is all canon. This is all canon in the MCU. But really, it is still what it is, which is a what if. It don't matter because the MCU is following the main timeline. Now, that might change coming up, but for right now, that's all we're following. Now, they might mean it's canon, as in they might turn something into live action if an idea hits well, or they might spin off another show. But for the main part, none of this is changing anything. It's still pretty much a hypothetical. So yes, it's, quote unquote part of the canon, but I don't know that it's really, affecting too much. So, but I enjoyed it. So I think the first one I would give a B+. This one I give an A-. So that's for me. All right, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around, get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe. And remember, if you heard it here, it's official canon.